Welcome to Conversations with Susanne. Today my guest is Marylou Coffey. She's the sister of a very good friend, long-term friend of mine, Marilyn Sorochan. And it's almost a year now since you came here to Newmarket to be with Marilyn in what you thought would be a few days or a couple of weeks at most, and turned out to be, 9 months?
Close to 9 months.
Close to 9 months.
Yeah.
On her final journey, on Marilyn's final journey, up with stage 4 cancer. So I wonder, Marylou, if you would just talk a little bit. I know that those last weeks were very hard. She suffered a great deal. But I wondered if you would share with us what her last days were like.
Well, Marilyn was always very articulate and could, express her needs and her wants very well. But in her last few days, there was very little speech. And she was still at home in the place that she loved. But I specifically remember the last morning. Her bedroom had a patio door, and we had the curtains open, and the sun was shining, and the trees there, and she loved that area. This whole space she just loved. And I said to her, I was standing beside her bed, and I had her hand, and I said to her, boy, that sun is beautiful. And up until this point, she'd just been lying there with her eyes closed. And when I said that, she kind of opened her eyes, she squeezed my hands, and she gave me the thumbs up with a big smile. And that was the last interaction we had. It was a beautiful ending. It was a beautiful ending.
Well, can you talk a little bit about how you came to be the caregiver?
Well, that was quite by whatever. Her daughter had called me. I was coming down on a Thursday, and her daughter called and said, you most probably should come quickly. Like, this was a Tuesday, maybe tomorrow, because she's fading fast. So I thought, okay, I better get down there. So I went on the Wednesday, and she was in the hospital. Not very much communication. There wasn't much going on there. And I thought, and the doctor said just a few days, So I thought, well, okay, I'll stay with her in the hospital, and we'll, see what happens and whatever. And the rest is history. She got out of the hospital. She really, really wanted to go home. She wanted to be on her patio with her flowers, even if it was just going to be for a little while. And the doctors were great. They agreed, and we got her home by the beginning of the next week. And she was there till February.
I remember her saying when we did the video where she talks about her experience, that it was the coming home. When she was in the hospital, she really felt like she was dying. She knew she wasn't going to make it.
Yeah.
But it was when she got home, had all of her own things around her, you were there for companionship and for care, and that's when she started to blossom.
Absolutely, she did. Yeah.
And it's an interesting message when we think about what we offer people at that time of life.
I agree. I had no idea how important getting home to her would be as far as to long term. I thought it would just be for a day or two, sit on the deck, have a cup of tea with their flowers, that would be it. But when you think about it and you put everything together, it's like you say, you've got your own things. You're back to the food that you know and love and that you appreciate. And then when her grandkids come over, they don't have to be quiet walking down the hill and sit quietly beside a hospital bed. They can play and have fun and chat with her, and it's just real life. So we underestimate how important it is to be home. And yes, there are times when you can't be, but she's a classic case that she absolutely could be if she had the care.
From what you expected from looking after her, what were things that surprised you?
Well, honestly, I had no idea what to expect. I am not a medical person. That's not my background. But the thing that just amazed me is how many resources are there to support you. I mean, I can remember going to the pharmacy and getting this list of drugs that I couldn't even pronounce, let alone what they were. And somebody would sit down and talk with me and explain to me what this is for, when they take it, with food, without food, before, all of those types of things. And the PSWs that would come in and support her, and her doctor, she had a Dr. Baggio, and he would come in and answer any question and chat. There was just so many resources that I never knew existed, and they were an absolute gift to me and to her.
Do you think that's unique to our hospital? Because you often hear stories that are quite different, don't you?
Yeah. I don't know that because I don't have any comparison to other hospitals. I do know that life in the hospital is a very challenging situation, and it's got nothing to do with staff or whatever. They were all wonderful. It's just the situation, the environment. It's a very different state.
Mm-hmm. What, in terms of Marilyn's needs, what kinds of things did you have to do that you perhaps weren't even prepared to or knew how to?
Well, she was on many different types of medications, and blood pressure had to be taken, and there were injections that she needed, and I had never done any of this stuff. And but it's amazing. You get the system, you get it laid out, you get this calendar, this day you do this is this appointment, this person's coming this day, and it falls into place. You have no choice. It has to fall into place because that's what she needed. And I was there to do what she needed.
What was the hardest part?
Well, I wouldn't want to say that there was anything that was so hard that I regretted or thought, oh my God, we're doing this today. Everything just kind of fell into place. It was very difficult, I must say, to see her regress. You know, she got smaller, she got more frail, she got, she never gave up. She was a fighter, but physically you could see she was definitely regressing, and that was a tough thing.
The last several times that I saw her, when I'd give her a hug, it just gave me the shivers.
Yeah.
You could feel every bone.
Yeah.
But she didn't lose her sense of humor either.
Never. She had a sense of humor right till the end.
Yeah.
She was hilarious.
What I loved was, how she preserved her independence. And we talked about this, but the last time I went to see her, I had not checked my phone, and you had left a message that said she doesn't feel like visitors today. I hadn't seen that, so I waltzed down, knock on the door, and she came to the door. You were out shopping. Oh, come on in, she says, and she's all perks right up. I don't know, I'm not supposed to be there. So in we go. We sit down and we start laughing and talking and carrying on. And then we realized that I shouldn't be there. So I said something. I said, well, Marylou might be upset with me. And she said, she's not the boss. So you really were not the boss.
Oh.
You were there, very important, and she appreciated it, but she kept that control, power over how she was living at the end.
Yep.
Right to the end.
And that was one of the things that she wanted the most, was her independence, and she wanted a say in things. And if you came to the door, there's no possible chance she would say, oh, I don't feel like it today. She would bounce back up, and amazing.
Yeah.
She was amazing. It's the only word to describe her.
I think I said this to her when she and I had this conversation, but she represents in my mind the ultimate example of the mind is everything. And when we have cultivated in our minds a sense of gratitude, a sense of appreciation for life, a warmth towards other people, all of which Marilyn had, it serves us. She wasn't, I'm sure that there were times, and she actually said this to me one time, times when she wanted to say the hell with everything, because you get very tired of having to be looked after, having to take all these intrusive kinds of things. But having said that, she never allowed that to flavor the quality of her day-to-day life.
Oh, cognitively, she was
Yeah.
right on
Yeah.
her mark, and that meant so much to her. You know, she loved when people would come in to visit.
Yeah.
You know, however, she wanted to know when they were coming because she was not going to be in her pajamas.
No.
That's for sure. She
No.
was going to be up, the hair was going to be done, and she was going to be good. In that regard, I used to sit back and just admire her. And you know, there were many nights on the couch afterwards. You know, she'd see her start shaking and she'd start crying and says, I don't know how much I can do. I don't know how long I can do this. I don't like being sick like this. And then we'd have a little chat, and pretty soon she'd bounce back up, but she'd say, but this is what it is, and tomorrow's another day. Like, she was amazing. She had strength and power like nobody I've ever seen.
It was just such a natural thing for her. You know,
Yeah.
she didn't allow the darkness to take over her mind.
Yeah, yeah.
We never, well, I guess we did talk a little bit about whether she was afraid to die. And as I told her that time, my father, when he was in that same situation, talked about his own experience of near-death experience, and how it took away any fear he had about death. And one of the things that you and I have talked about is how important it is to put death in perspective and to talk about it
For sure.
with the people who are going through it.
Yeah.
And I've heard other people say, well, nobody, you know, they all, oh, everything's going to be fine. You're going to be fine, when they know you're not.
Yeah.
That's not helpful.
No.
It'd be much more helpful to say, you know, let's think about what might be ahead.
Yeah. And what are the things we do know? And actually, like when I say, but she would have sometimes have a bit of a breakdown on the couch, and I don't want it. No. All we had to do was talk about it and talk about exactly those things you talk about. Yes, we don't have all the answers. No, we don't know what's around the corner, but we know what's here today. We know the amazing things that happened yesterday and the last 83 years, and that's what she would focus on. And she could bounce right back from those situations.
Yeah, I think that has to be one of the most important dimensions of this whole conversation.
Yeah, I agree. We can't
don't
deny
be
it.
afraid to talk about death.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to imagine the possibilities that can lay ahead. Yeah. And all we need to do is look around a beautiful setting like this. If this beautiful setting can exist,
yeah,
what's to say there isn't something better?
And you know, the other thing is, when you talk about acknowledging that death is around the corner or the potential, that's such a gift to give to our kids too, to talk to them about it, because that's their world, that's their life. And Granny was the most important, you know, they'd come to visit and play and whatever. Well, if you don't talk about those things and give it some sort of context, then how are little guys supposed to process that? So it's not only a real benefit for the person suffering, for the adults, but also for the little kids.
And she made a point of that, didn't she? Remember when I asked her, you know, if she had regrets or what she was concerned about, and she said, "I am concerned for the children."
Yeah.
That they will understand what this is, because now we shelter children from all those things. Very few children see anyone die in their homes.
That's right.
In my time, we did. Yeah. I was at home. I was 9 years of age when my granddad died, in his bed at home, and my mother was beside him, and I'm standing in the room.
Yeah.
Well, still remember it at 87. I can still picture that.
Yeah, and that's what I used to tell her, that she gave those kids a gift by being as verbal and just by being there and being present. And yes, they'd see her in pajamas, and yes, they'd see her take lots of pills or whatever, but it's still Granny.
Yeah,
you know.
And I think that seeing you live till you don't.
Exactly right.
You don't stop because down the road somebody told you have 2 weeks or 2 months or whatever.
Yeah.
That was the other thing for me with Marilyn, was that she lived right till she did.
Yeah.
Even you talk about that last morning where she was able to give the thumbs up.
And the big smile. Yeah, exactly. Well,
do you have anything that in particular that you would say to other people who are taking on the role of caregiver? from your experience?
I think one of the biggest things is that whoever it is a person first and the disease comes next. So not to define them by the disease or the 27 pills they have to take today or the whatever. They're a person first. And once you dwell on that, I think that's such a positive thing. And that goes hand in hand with being able to stay home if you can and being able to be who you are and all of those types of things. So to me, she was Marilyn first. Yes, she had a lot of challenges health-wise. She had for years. And medication and injections and all tests and all that stuff. But she was Marilyn Sorochan first. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you, Marylou. It's been a real pleasure
Well,
to see
thank
you
you.
again.
You've been one of Marilyn's great friends. She had lots, but it's an absolute treat to chat with you.
I know that I feel her presence. I'm quite sure she's probably watching.
I think she is, and I hope I did it right, Marilyn.
Thank you, Marylou.
Thank you, Susanne.